Friday. How are we doing out there, everybody? Welcome to the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space where we set oppression ablaze because we understand that the current system as it stands is fucking untenable. It is inhumane. It is inhospitable to the planet. And you know what? We have enough numbers on our side to change this shit, to burn it down, if it were. And I'm so happy to see you guys in here. Let's get these numbers up. Shout out to the Fire Fam one time. I see we got all my all-stars in here. I see Chuck Diesel is in here. Afraid Not is in here. Valley Girls, Dave G, what's going on? Stoner Loner. Thank you, Damien. By the way, Fire Fam, real quick, I want us to send some Fire Fam love and positivity going out to Lady Heloise. Lady Heloise has been under the weather, so we want to send our love and healing vibrations to Lady Heloise and her folks over there in the UK. We want you to get better, Lady Heloise. We missed you around these parts. And Damien, thank you so much for letting me know what's going on with that. Gang, we have a wonderful show in store for you today. Wait a minute, let me finish saying what's up to everybody. I see Anna Hart is in here. I see Wendy is up in here. Who else we got up in here? Lots of people. We got Brenda up in here. We got Afra. Afra's up in the house. Afra sings. I love it when Afra's in here. That always makes me feel good. And I'm so happy to see all my people coming through today. It's Friday. I guess God decided to take spring back. God gave us spring, and he said, nah, never mind, niggas. You niggas don't deserve spring. Take some more of this winter. It's a little nipply around the DMV. I don't know what it's like in your corner of the world. But like I said, we've got a great show for you in store today. So coming up at the end of the show, shout out to Courtney, the SLP. Courtney very kindly kept me updated about the status of the case about Jason Walker, the North Carolina man who was gunned down by an off-duty sheriff's deputy in front of his house. The autopsy results have been released, and they're not surprising, but I think it's important that we continue to talk about Jason's case. As you know, no charges have yet been filed against the officer for Jason's murder, but Jason's family and his representation are demanding murder charges. And I don't know how likely those murder charges are going to be coming out of North Carolina. Not to say that North Carolina is any different than any other one of these crack-ass states that we call the United States of America. But yeah, it's important that we keep discussing that. So thank you, Courtney, for sending me that story. We're also going to talk about, speaking about police, the issue of police reform, right? Police reform, that shit has died in front of the United States Congress, right? You don't hear nothing about the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, and we're going to make sure the police get reformed. Nope. All they wanted to talk about is how to give the police more money, not to hold the police accountable. Well, it's interesting because police defenders will commonly go back to the same refrain of there's only a few bad apples in policing, right? Well, what happens when so-called good apples, by the way, as a policy position here on Burn It Down with Kim Brown, we do not believe in good cops, okay? We do. ACAB is our sort of default position on that statement. But let's play pretend for a second. So let's pretend as though there are good cops in some of these police departments, and when they find their cohorts committing illegal acts and they tell on their cohorts, let's see, do the bad cops get reined in, or do the so-called snitching ass good cops get kicked the fuck out? I got a couple stories from Maine and Michigan that I like to share with you about how the whole issue of police reform is a fucking myth. It is a neoliberal myth. Stop believing, and I know y'all don't, but tell y'all people to stop believing these politicians when they talk about police reform, because baby, ain't no such thing. There's no reforming the system of American policing as it stands. But the first thing I want to get into is a couple of things. So watching some of the confirmation hearings surrounding Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who by all accounts could be the first woman Supreme Court justice. The head of the Democratic Party, West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, today announced that he intends to support Ketanji Brown Jackson's nomination for the Supreme Court. And I'm sure Joe Biden exhaled a sigh of relief because Joe Biden don't run shit in the Democrats. Apparently, this is Joe Manchin's party. So whatever Joe Manchin decides is going to be the agenda is what happens. So the fact that Joe Manchin has said that Ketanji Brown Jackson got his vote or will get his vote is a very encouraging sign for her. Howsoever. Wait, it's my mother. Mama, why are you texting me in the middle of the show? It's not even important. Mama sent me a picture. Maybe it's a picture of me looking funny. Maybe that's why she sent me a picture. But anyway, back to Ketanji Brown Jackson. So it's likely that she is going to achieve this historic milestone, right? And I want to look at this from a couple of different angles because is Renee here? Shout out to Lewis King. I see you up in here. Shout out to Renee. Renee probably will come back and watch this later, I hope. Hello, Renee. I saw Renee Johnson on Twitter. She was tweeting about how deeply how she could appreciate the historical moment of this as a Black woman, and even having leftist politics, right? And that is part of what I want us to get into today. So where I want us to begin, because again, I'm of two minds about Ketanji Brown Jackson. I understand the historical significance of this, and at the same time, I understand that the only reason that she personally as an individual is even up for consideration of a historical leveling up like this would be, partially is because of her law enforcement background. Not her serving in law enforcement, but her family. And by extension, she received the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police, the National Fraternal Order of Police. And guys, that is not an insignificant thing, okay? That is big time class signaling, like, no, we approve of this one, okay? And anybody who's down with the feds can't be down with the Browns, okay? You can't be down with the cops and pro-Black people. And I want us to make sure that we have that distinction. Simply because she is Black does not make her pro-Black. Simply because she is a Black woman does not mean that she is going to rule in ways that help to improve our community. And even should she be confirmed to the court, the so-called liberal justices are in such a minority, they ain't got no pull any way, right? Anyway, so where I want us to start is this very circulated clip of New Jersey Senator Cory Booker crying and shit, just coming to the defense of Ketanji Brown Jackson, who had endured two very, let's say, difficult days of confirmation hearings. And again, she is the police, I understand that. However, she is preeminent in her field, and for someone Black especially, a Black woman especially, who is top of her field, to have to answer questions to a bunch of fucking white mediocres. Oh my God. You want to send Black women's blood pressure through the roof. Even, again, I look at her, I see cops, but I could relate. But I wanted to take a quick look. Let's start with Cory Booker before we get into how the white mediocres came at Ketanji Brown Jackson. I want us to take a look at Cory Booker and this performance of patriotism, this performance of bourgeoisie Black America, again, signaling to the greater powers that, no, we want to be part of this, okay? And you can talk about us, you can besmirch us, you can discredit us, you can smear us. We still love this country. We love America so much. We will suffer generations of disrespect and indignities just so one of us can get to a top spot. Watch Cory Booker in this fucking performative ass, patriotic ass bullshit.
There is a love in this country that is extraordinary. You admitted it about your parents. They loved this nation, even though there were laws preventing them from getting together. When they There were laws in this country that would have prevented you from marrying your husband. It wasn't that long ago. It was last generation. But they didn't stop loving this country, even though this country didn't love them back. And what were the words of your heroes and mine? What did Constance Baker Motley do? This country that she saw insult and injuries, when she came out of law school, law firms wouldn't even hire her because she was a woman. Did she become bitter? Did she try to create a revolution? No, she used the very constitution of this nation. She loved it so much, she wanted America to be America. As Langston Hughes wrote, "Oh, let America be America again." The land that never has been yet, but yet must be the land where everyone is free. Oh, yes, I say it plain, America never was America to me, but I swear this oath, America will be.
You will never destroy the master's house using the master's tools. Let's be very clear about that. And Shirley, I see you in the chat. Shirley's telling me to let the black bushies have their moment. No, Shirley, no. I won't let them have their moment. Listen, because sis is going to get on, period, point blank. But again, how is this different than Biden? Like, we got to push Joe Biden to the left. Now, granted, the Supreme Court obviously is a lifetime appointment. Once she get on, she got that gig forever, yes, forever, right? But we have to shine the spotlight. And basically what I want us to do, right? I don't expect no policy changes from my 2,600 subscriber YouTube channel. But what I do hope for us to do is to have a conversation here, and then y'all go and tell y'all Democratic friends what the fuck is up, right? Because people have a very myopic view of things and the ways that identity politics can be weaponized and the ways that representation can be weaponized is bullshit, just like Cory Booker was just saying right there. You know, Constance Baker Motley, she didn't start a revolution. Why didn't she? Maybe she should have. Maybe she should have started a revolution. No, she, according to Cory Booker, took the tools of the Constitution. Oh, the same Constitution that don't want to see Ketanji Brown Jackson's black ass sitting up there in the first place, because apparently that's why there have been 150 or so Supreme Court justices and not now. Now a one has been a black woman. That's not by accident, baby. That is on purpose. That is by design. Constance Baker Motley, perfect example. A brilliant black jurist who very easily could have been a Supreme Court justice. But why was she not one? Was it because of her lack of credentials, her lack of education and understanding and interpretation and disposition of the law? Absolutely not. It's because the Supreme Court is not meant to have black women on it, okay? None of this whole country is meant to see our faces in these lofted places of leadership, but the ones who do get into those lofted places of leadership are there to uphold white supremacy. They are there to do the bidding of racist white America every single fucking time. And this is why I cannot get excited about this representation, because y'all, I already got with Obama, okay? Like the representation and the excitement and the enthusiasm behind getting the first black, I'm sorry, that wad got blown on Obama with me. That's it. I ain't getting excited about another one. Unless they talking about burning the shit down, and then that's a nigga I can get behind. But the rest of these, smile in your face, you know. Anyway, I can't get with that. And so I understand, but I understand why it's significant. I understand why it's significant to a lot of people, but I need for people to take that significance down just a tad, because at the end of the day, what we are witnessing is a tremendous personal, individual achievement for Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? With the backing of the National Fraternal Order of Police. Please don't leave that out of the sentence. Like, that's why she's there. But how is her ascension going to affect things for us, right? How is it actually going to change our material condition? Like I said, she's coming to be, pardon the pun, but a minority bloc on the Supreme Court. She's probably going to rule similar ways in which Stephen Breyer ruled, right? Justice Breyer. So, I mean, that was her nigga she clerked for. So, I I don't see her doing monumental, groundbreaking things for us. This is a monumental, groundbreaking thing for her. And I want us as a community to stop to stop celebrating the individual achievements who, when you look at their overall record, have done, if not intentional harm to Black communities and to Black people, but not perhaps use their position in ways that helps to better us or benefit us, or even, benefit those in her instance who come in front of her courtroom. Oh, but let's talk about that, shall we? Because the portions of the confirmation hearings that I have caught, and I saw Lindsey Graham clutching his pearls, right? He's so upset. And shout out to the guy, help me out here, Fire Fam, Will and Grace fans. Who was Karen's little homie, the little gay white older man, who had zingers for days, who had one-liners for days? I saw a commentary about Lindsey Graham's performance by a man who resembled this man, but because I could not verify that it was that man, that's why I did not pull it. But baby girl laid into Lindsey Graham, talking about Lindsey Graham hoisted up her petticoats and flounced her way up the stairs and had terrible nightmares about being attacked by vaginas. If you find this clip on Twitter, you should totally get a nice little chuckle out of that. But I think that was Karen's little nemesis off of Will and Grace, and he is hilarious balls. But anyway, so getting back to the Lindsey Graham and the Ted Cruz berating of Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now, again, as a Black American woman, as a professional on occasion, Black American woman, been there, done that, and I can empathize with her. But the empathy, there is a what's the word? It's not a border. It is a boundary. Yes, there is a boundary between my empathy and sympathy. And as a Black woman, I could empathize with her, but I do not sympathize with her. Why? Because she's police. She's police at the end of the day. So let's take a look at a couple of clips of Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz. Oh my gosh. Ted Cruz is so mad that he's not all the way white. He is so pissed that he's just off white. He wants to be all the way white so bad. He wants to be all the way American white so bad. And the fact that he is not is why I think that he acts out in extra obnoxious ways, because he's trying to double, triple, and quadruple down upon his aspirational white manhood. So let's take a look at A2, guys. So this clip is going to begin. I wanted to begin with this particular clip because I felt this particular clip pretty strongly. So, as most of us who work in American corporate spaces, there are certain questions that a potential employer is not supposed to ask you, right? They're not supposed to ask, are you involved with somebody? Do you own your home? Do you go to church? What's your religion? Very personal questions, right? Have you had an abortion? I mean, like the shit that your employer has no fucking business asking you. Are you gay? You understand? So laws were put into place to protect workers, right, from intrusive and possibly discriminatory questions. So the fact that a sitting U.S. senator in a Senate confirmation hearing on national television had the audacity to ask anybody, but in this case, Ketanji Brown Jackson, about her faith is not only grossly inappropriate, unprofessional, I even think the shit is borderline illegal. Now, I am not a legal scholar, and I don't know the legalities in this context of a person who is a judge who is sitting for a Senate confirmation hearing. I suppose the Senate, this is a job interview, is it not? So I don't understand why this was acceptable for Lindsey Graham to begin. This is how we're going to start off this clip, is asking Ketanji Brown Jackson about her faith. And to lead off with unprofessionalism, but then to demand professionalism and decorum from her. Very telling. Let's take a look at these clips.
What faith are you, by the way?
Senator, I am Protestant,
Okay.
non-denominational.
Okay. Could you fairly judge a Catholic?
Senator, I have a record of
I think the
fairly
answer would be yes.
judging everyone.
I believe you can. I'm just asking this question because how important is your faith to you?
Senator, personally, my faith is very important. But as you know, there's no religious test in the Constitution under Article 6.
In this case, you say comparable defendants are sentenced to 84 to 92 months. Sentencing guidelines by statute require you to have similarly situated defendants sentenced to similar sentences, but you don't sentence Chazen to 84 to 92 months. You sentenced him to 28 months. Why?
Senator, I've said what I'm going to say about these cases. No one case can stand in for a judge's entire record.
Okay, but I'm discussing
And
every one of your cases. So
I
if you're
understand
not
that.
going to explain it, then I'm
Senator,
gonna...
would you please let her respond?
No, not if she's not going to answer my
Well, if
question.
you're just going to give a speech, then you shouldn't engage in
And
questioning.
you are not taking my time. If you want to filibuster, you're welcome to do so, but do it
I
on your
would
own
at least
time.
give you an opportunity to speak, and you should give her an opportunity to respond.
If she wants to answer the question, I asked her why
Please
she
allow
sentenced,
her to answer the
I
question.
asked her why she sentenced Chazen to 28 months when comparable defendants, in
So
her
let's hear
own
the
words,
answer.
were sentenced to substantially higher, and she said she's not going to answer. Did you? I mean, I would welcome your
I didn't
answer,
hear that.
please.
Senator, I didn't say I'm not going to answer.
Okay, well
I
then
said
please
my
tell us
answer.
in this case, Chazen, why did you sentence him to just 28 months?
Senator, you're looking at the record. I don't have the record here. What I will say is that in every case, I looked at the recommendations of not only the government, but also the probation office, the defendant, the record, the evidence. I took into account the seriousness of the offense. And
By the way, you know, one of the
ruled.
striking things,
By the way, one of the striking things, you know how when you ask somebody a question and they start to answer, then you start to talk all over them. You know, one of the striking things is that Ted Cruz is a fucking ignorant fucking piece of shit asshole. And shout out to her who said it in the chat that he is white, that his parents, his mother is French Canadian and his father is a white Cuban. I understand that, but he needs to change the spelling of his name, Cruise, because Cruz denotes non-white in the United States to white people. You understand? He's not white enough for the whites. Anyway, that's just my take. But maybe he is white enough for the whites. Racist whites. We all. Do I need to reiterate that? No. Whenever I say whites, usually I'm referring to the racist whites. So anyway. Note that going forward, if you will. Well, let me circle back here. Circling back, it's really interesting for me that the GOP senators are seizing upon Ketanji Brown Jackson's sentencing of child pornographers, and they're saying that she's not tough enough on crime. I think that's going to be A3 Tunde. So annually, the United States Sentencing Commission on Sentencing, hold on, let me make sure I get this correct. There is reports released annually about child pornography and how it's prosecuted in the United States. And the United States Sentencing Commission provides an annual update of offender characteristics for specific offenses. Now, I found this on a Houston, Texas-based area law firm, Odom, Davis, and Hobson. I guess they may have some clients accused of child pornography because they had this nice summary on their website. But the thing that jumped out to me about this, bear in mind what Ketanji Brown Jackson is being dragged by the GOP senators for, is about her being lenient on sentencing child pornographers. So I want you guys to observe this portion of this summary of the United States Sentencing Commission's report on child pornography as of 2020. So the demographic background for child pornography offenders, okay? The Quick Facts release lays out the demographic data for those connected of child pornography offenses. The following will outline major statistics. And I want you to take note that 99.7 of the offenders were male. Oh, but note what's right underneath that. 81.3 of the offenders accused of child pornography or child sex offenses, 81.3% are white. So the overwhelming majority of people accused or are charged with child pornography, at least as of 2020, were overwhelmingly white men. Has y'all's favorite cable news network pointed this out? Perhaps that is the reason why Ketanji Brown Jackson was sentencing these offenders to more lenient sentences, because the criminal injustice system and all of its rotten, disparaging, discriminatory practices will always sentence white people, and in this case, white men, to far more lenient sentences than black or brown offenders, right? So I'd be really curious how Ketanji Brown Jackson's sentences of child porn people convicted of those offenses, I wonder how her sentencing varied via race, because I would be inclined to speculate that her sentencing of child pornographers was consistent with that of how white men are sentenced in this criminal injustice system, period. So basically, she's being fried by the GOP for still upholding white supremacy, right? She gave white male child pornographers more lenient sentences. I'm shocked. I'm blown away by that. And that is the sinister ways in which even people who look like us are committed to upholding the most awful tenets of this system. And that's why people who look like us, when they get chosen or selected for these types of positions, I'm skeptical as fuck about who they are, okay? She has a beautiful family, sounds like her mother and father loved her very much. But without a doubt, there has to be some sort of anti-blackness element within her personal ethos, right? Because I don't see how you could become a member of law enforcement, basically, if you're a part of and I know she was an attorney, I know she, they're representing the Gitmo, Bamas, or whatever, but no, you look at a lot of her rulings, and in rulings regarding, discriminatory shit, you like that expert legal analysis there, don't y'all? In rulings regarding discriminatory shit, she generally did not come out in the favor of black folks, right? And anybody that is endorsed by the National Fraternal Order of Police has to be viewed with a heavy dose of skepticism by us. So I can understand us rah-rah sis boom buying for this black lady, and I can understand feeling some kind of way when you see her attacked, and when you see that she's clearly smart. This woman is not stupid. She's highly intelligent. She's well versed in all the ways of technology. If you could quote the law back and forth again, I have questions. I have questions about your character. But dumb is not what she is. Unqualified is not what she is. And I feel resentful that qualified black black people, but obviously this is a black woman first platform. So I'm talking as a black woman here. Like, I've been in those positions, man. I've been in positions where people either with less experience than me or people with less knowledge about me, but particularly I can't even say a specific demographic because, all love to everybody present, but in the workforce, in the workplace, historically, my nemesis is, what's the plural for nemesis? Is it nemesi? I don't know what, nemesis. My nemesis have been white women and black men. Like, and that's not uniform, that is not at every job, but the main niggas to tell on me have been white women and black men to go tell that to management. I was like, you snitching ass pieces of shit. Anyway, so, wait, I got all off guard. I got all off topic. I was having PTSD flashbacks of past jobs where you know there was people I wanted to physically harm, but I didn't. Now why didn't I? Because I understand that there's consequences, right? And the power dynamic between black women and everybody else is always on display when it is an adversarial sort of thing, right? So you see the way that Lindsey Graham and Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz, the tone that they took with her. Now, the Republicans would argue that contentious tones were struck with Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. That may be true. The difference is Brett Kavanaugh was credibly accused of sexual assault. Okay, Ketanji Brown Jackson is getting raked over the coals just for being black and excellent in her field. Like that is enough to elicit hostility towards black women, right? And it's a double-edged sword because it's legitimate to feel angry at the way that she was treated, right? That is a legitimate feeling to feel angry in that way. But the other side of that is that I want it to be for a person who's going to actually fight for us. Okay, like we're doing a lot. Now, when I say we, I really mean the black bourgeoisie right now. There's a lot of black bourgeois people out here doing warrior work on social media, defending Ketanji Brown Jackson. And it's like, I don't quite understand why you guys are fighting so hard for her, but point to me in her judicial record where she fought for us. You know what I mean? Where she made rulings that would help to benefit or to not just benefit the community, but, you know, make the criminal injustice system more fair. And I assure you that sentencing white male child pornographers to more lenient sentences is not the way that you make that system more fair for black people, right? Let's go to, really quick, I was going to point out the fact that she was endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police, and I think I've said that 10 times already because I'm trying to really hammer that home. Let's pop up A4 if you could for me, Tunde. Again, the police are not our friends, guys. And if you hear black political commentators or black politicians using the FOP endorsement of Ketanji Brown Jackson as a reason that we should support her, to me, I hear the exact opposite. I read the exact opposite from that endorsement. The police are here to occupy our communities. They are here to constantly keep significant portions of our communities hemmed up in the criminal and justice system, right? You guys, there was two more people died on Rikers Island in the past week because of the inhumane conditions there, okay? And people like Ketanji Brown Jackson as a judge, people like Marilyn Mosby as the Baltimore State's attorney, a prosecutor, we cannot root for black people whose job is it to send other black people to jail. Like that, they are not worth us rooting for them. Now, if you want to root for her confirmation as, stick it to the, to own the cons. I don't know. How do you own the conservatives? To own the fucking shit cons. Go. But be a little bit more long looking in your lens about that. Like, we can have this as an individual victory, I suppose, for Black America, because now she's going to go into children's books and meet Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first ever Supreme Court. Don't you want your little girls to aspire to be on the Supreme Court? Listen, little black girls were never incapable of being on the Supreme Court. Little black girls and black women have been intentionally excluded from the Supreme Court. It's never a matter of capability or ability or intelligence or skills enough to navigate, in this case, the legal system. No, baby, we never lacked the smarts. We always lacked the opportunity. But the problem is, it's friends of the Fraternal Order of Police. Those are the ones who get these kinds of opportunities. And those people are not our friends. All skin folk is not your kinfolk. And I know you love Ketanji Brown, Jackson's dreads and shit, but no, that don't make her down for the brown. It absolutely does not. So as you see there, Patrick Yose, the national spokesperson for the National Fraternal Order of Police, gave a very ringing endorsement of Ketanji Brown Jackson. And gang, that should have been enough for us to say, wait a second. Now wait just a damn second. Let me take a little pause right here, guys, just to remind everybody to do us a favor. So we're trying to get our numbers up, quite obviously, and we're really close to getting to 2,000 followers on Twitter. So do me a favor, go over to Burn It Down KB on Twitter. Give us a follow on Twitter. We certainly appreciate it. We're trying to get to 2,000 followers on Twitter. Hey, somebody send us some money. Hey, a couple people send us some money. Woo! Come through, money. What's up, JG? Jonathan Guerrero. Jonathan Guerrero says, SCOTUS is an illegitimate, yep, as proven by Clarence Thomas and his superfan wife that are involved in 1-6. Listen, Jonathan, I will chat on that in a moment. Louis Kang, thank you, Lou Kang. Thank you, Lou Kang. Lou Kang ran us some bucks saying being endorsed by the National Fraternal of Police is tantamount to being endorsed by the KKK. For me, exactly. Louis, say that, Louis. I mean, nigga, miss me with the David Duke endorsement. Like, oh, fucking Ketanji got endorsed by David Duke. What? That's a bad thing. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. JG, oh, wait, hold on. Let me do my little plugs here real quick. So follow us on Twitter at Burn It Down KB. Follow us everywhere around the internet on Instagram and Facebook at BIDWKB. Most importantly, subscribe to the fucking channel. I mean, I didn't mean to say that harshly. I'm sorry. Let me reset myself and say that nicely. Please, if you would not mind to take a moment and push the subscribe button. We really want to keep growing our channel. I don't mean to cuss at y'all and tell y'all to subscribe to the fucking channel. I'm just a little bit uncouth sometimes. It comes out, but I don't try to hide it. You know why? Because I ain't trying to impress these motherfucking racist ass white mediocres like Ted Cruz and fucking Lindsey Graham and them. No, nigga, you're not gonna talk to me any old motherfucking kind of way. Ain't no brownie points in heaven for shutting the fuck up in the face of racists. Miss me. Anyway, I'm sorry, I had to get that off my chest. Follow us different places around the internet. Shout out to Northern Witch. We are over there on Twitch at BIDWKB. And of course, like Jonathan Guerrero and Louis Kang have already led the way. If you want to support the channel, you can drop us some super chats. We certainly appreciate that. You can do so on Venmo at BIDWKB, Cash App, $ at BIDWKB. Oh, patrons, hi. We love patrons. We want to get more patrons too. Patreon.com/BIDWKB. And we have some merch. We have some merch available. So yeah. So I had to give out my little plugs. We haven't plugged all of our shit in a while. So let me remind everybody that we are very much still an INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that means, man? We are independent media news outlet out here led by Black women. Northern Witch, you stop it. Northern Witch, you take that $20 back. You put your money back in your purse, Northern Witch. Your money's no good here, D. You work for us. Thank you, Northern Witch. You're so kind. Northern Witch says, I love to all my fire fam. Thank you, Northern Witch. That was so sweet of you. Thank you, darling. You guys are so nice to us. I really appreciate that. And anyway, I love you guys. Anyway, moving along to our next segment, guys. So, police reform. How's that going? Police accountability in your hometown or your state. What's that looking like these days? Let me tell you what that's looking like here in the state of Maryland. Our governor, Larry Hogan, who has aspirations to the White House, of course, Larry Hogan has implored the Maryland State Assembly to pass a new crime bill. And Larry Hogan wants to refund the police. Oh, but the gag is the police was never defunded in the state of Maryland. So all this talk about police reform and police accountability has been revealed for what it is. Not to say that the spirit behind defund the police is not very valid, and I think still a very strong policy position that we, united, need to continue to pursue. But it's very clear that Democrats just do not have the stomach for this shit, right? They absolutely do not have the stomach for it. Shout out to Martine. Thank you, Martin. Burn it down. Thank you so much for your super chat support, Martin. We appreciate that very much, very much. But let me give you guys a couple of anecdotal examples of how even on a very rudimentary level, police reform is a joke. Police accountability is a fucking joke. The police can never be trusted to, number one, investigate themselves and hold themselves accountable. We have seen this countless times in too many murders of Black and brown people where either charges were never filed, right? Or perhaps charges were brought, but a conviction was not able to be garnered in the case of Freddie Gray in Baltimore. But I want us to look at in the ways in which policing itself as an institution really resists being held accountable, right? Like even in the case of whistleblowers, there's two stories I want to bring to you today. And I think the first one we're going to start in Michigan. And maybe I'll tell you how I came to these stories at the end, but let's start with this one in Michigan. Okay, now what the story that you're about to hear pertains to the Michigan State Troopers and a state trooper whom tried to tell. He tried to go snitch on the police. And this poor policeman, I say that sarcastically, and this poor policeman had to figure out the hard way that police don't like being snitched on. Like you can't go tell on us because we will turn that shit around on you. Let's take a look at this package. This is, I think, 3 weeks old coming out of Detroit. And this is how police try, I suppose, to hold themselves accountable. But of course, it's impossible to do because the whole fucking system of policing is rotten and cannot be reformed.
Jason Walker.
32-year-old Mark Andrews was relieved of all his duties as a Michigan State Trooper after he says he reported fellow officers drinking alcohol on the job and violating COVID-19 guidelines.
This meeting by supervisors was done at a sergeant's private home. They were told to dress in civilian clothes, not bring patrol cars. They're still on shift. God forbid there would have been a critical incident.
After learning about the incident, Andrews reported it up the chain of command. But he says as a form of retaliation, he was investigated and transferred from Monroe to Metro South Post to work the desk.
I'm a field training officer. I'm a nationally certified fire investigator. I'm an accident investigator. All these skills and specialties that they have paid a lot of money to train me in, now I'm sitting at the front desk.
An Ida native, Andrew's childhood dream was to be a Michigan State Trooper. He started his public service journey as a firefighter in his hometown and later enlisted in the Ohio National Guard before becoming a state trooper in 2012. For Andrews, no one is above the law, which left him no choice but to write a letter to Governor Whitmer requesting a hearing for the alleged house party, which Andrews' attorney, John Marco, says resulted in termination and additional charges against his client.
The main charge and the latest charge against Trooper Andrews, the Michigan State Police admits, is all related to his complaint to Governor Whitmer.
In an official statement to 7 Action News, MSP spokesperson Lieutenant Shaw writes, an internal affairs investigation established that the letter contained false allegations of misconduct by command members of the department. Andrews authored this letter with a reckless disregard for the truth. Also, during his investigatory interview, Andrews was not truthful about how he obtained knowledge of the Post meeting.
There unfortunately is a culture that rewards those in power and doesn't hold them accountable.
That's why a whistleblower suit against MSP has been filed alleging wrongful dismissal and violation of his rights under the Veterans Preference Act.
99% of the troopers and police officers are outstanding people. It's the unfortunate few who oftentimes get administrative positions, and they use it to their benefit.
Meanwhile, MSP say they are aware of the lawsuit and stand behind their investigation.
Mark, you've been serving the public and the nation for the longest time, and now this happens. How does it make you feel?
Disgusted. I have done nothing but pour my heart and soul into this profession.
Now, attorneys at Marco Law say that they expect to hear back from MSP sometime next month. In the meantime, Trooper Andrews' services remain terminated as he waits to receive justice. Reporting from downtown Detroit, I'm Faraz Javed, 7 Action News.
Wah! Wah! I'm so disgusted with my fellow cops who can't stop drinking on the fucking job by 1 o'clock. And then they gonna run me out because I told wah! Nigga, stop it. You knew what kind of corrupt ass criminal enterprise you was getting into, man. Miss me with the police. There's no way that people join the police department in the 21st century with the expectation that police is good police. Nigga, you know them motherfuckers is crooked. Stop it. Stop it. So disgusted, right? So disgusted. Yeah, he's trying to get his job back. And that's out of Michigan, okay? So you see what they did to the whistleblower, right? Mm-hmm. Whistleblower equals rat in the eyes of the police. These people they're not here for accountability, honey. They don't want to be reined in. They don't want the good cops removed out of their ranks. Pardon me, the bad cops. Apparently they do want at least the snitching ass cops to be removed. Because again, just because he's willing to tell on the other fucked up pigs, that don't make him a good cop, okay? By virtue of being a member of the police department, that automatically excludes him from being a good cop. There are no good cops. You understand? By and large, there are no good cops because many of the good cops, so-called good cops, will sit around and watch the bad cops do illegal shit and not say anything. So that immediately renders you not a good cop. But this dude, I don't have no sympathy for this. None. Actually, I laugh in the face of that kind of foolery, right? Like, nigga, you got food big time. Shout out to Lorraine, that's Anna's mama. Hey, Mama Heart. Thank you so much for your super chat support. We love you guys. Thank you to the hearts. We love the hearts up there. So the next story I wanted to take to you is going to be going from Michigan to Maine, okay? Now, it was interesting because I follow, who is this? The Portland Press Herald. Is that, who is this? Oh man, how the fuck did I do that? I was trying to find a package about this particular story, like a TV package, because again, it's convenient, you know what I mean? And if the TV packages aren't good, we can always pull them apart and laugh at them and pick them apart in a way that serves as a media critique, and that's fine. But I could not find a particular package on this story. This is coming out of Maine again, and this is from the Portland Press Herald. Now, the headline reads, "The state denies that a trooper faced whistleblower retaliation." Okay? Now, in reading this piece, which actually is very good and comprehensive, let me please credit the journalist. But when I put it in my reader view, the journalist name goes away. So this is actually a very good story. It's written by Emily Allen, who's a staff writer at the Portland Press Herald. So this cop is being retaliated against, or claims that they were set apart for demotions after reporting to the state agency that the Maine State Police Department was allegedly spying on protesters. Okay, so there was a number of protests happening, and this case has been going on for a couple of years, because now this has actually made its way into federal court. But so let me read you some portions of this. So attorneys argued in federal court on Thursday whether retiring Maine State Trooper George Loader's whistleblower retaliation case should go to trial. This is what they're trying to ascertain. So Loader alleges that when he made aware that the State Police Intelligence Unit, also known as a fusion unit, was spying on and conducting surveillance upon protesters who were protesting like a power plant in the area. I'm sorry, this article is very long. I should have written some notes about it, but I read it and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Now, what's interesting about this is that obviously the state police are denying that the retaliation was because Loader, former state trooper Loader, reported that the intelligence unit was doing what he thought was illegal surveillance, right? So they demoted him and basically made his working conditions so untenable that he retired, right? And what the federal case is actually going to decide, it's actually only going to decide whether or not the state retaliated against him. This federal suit is not even investigating his allegations about the intelligence unit surveilling protesters. And I talked about something kind of similar recently on Black Power Media, where in Washington, D.C., the Metropolitan Police Department is accused of maintaining lists of journalists, activists, lawyers, community members who submit Freedom of Information Act requests to the department for the release of information regarding crime statistics or any fucking thing, right? And it's been alleged in a lawsuit that not only is DC Police Department maintaining a list of this, but is actually either slow walking or denying some of these FOIA requests outright, depending on who's asking. Okay, and DC Attorney General Karl Racine is defending the police department in this lawsuit. And he said he didn't deny the existence of the list. What he said, Racine said, is that these lists are not illegal. He's like, I'm not saying we don't have the list, but if we did have the list, that's not even illegal to keep a list. Man, listen, please fret not about the fascists in Moscow apparently running across the Ukrainian border. Baby, the fascist is right here with us, okay? Police are keeping lists of us, and this is not new. This goes back to McCarthyism and probably even predates that, right? But that is not a good signal for our democracy when the police and the police state is maintaining lists of citizens or surveilling citizens who are exercising their free right to protest. And this is a pattern, again, this is part and parcel for what American democracy is all about. It's all about surveilling political opposition, documenting them, and following their every move, whilst, by the way, committing illegal acts, violating the community, disregarding people's constitutional and civil rights on the regs, right? Like that's just standard operating procedure for police. So let's just be fucking clear here. Like when politicians tell us that defund the police is a losing slogan or it's a catchy slogan, it is a very clear and concise policy demand. And what defunding the police hopefully will get to, well, eventually lead to abolishing the police, but hopefully the police will have significantly fewer hundreds of millions of dollars to just be out here fucking around, okay? Because apparently this is what the fuck they do. They get drunk on the job, they waste their time and taxpayer resources surveilling peaceful protesters. Apparently these motherfuckers don't have actual crimes to solve at all, right? But I think it's also important that we as a community, and I'm assuming most of us here have fewer radical friends than we do liberal friends politically, right? When I try to tell people, well, some people I have told about BPM and they get very excited, and some of them be like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. And it's like, well, you just listen, just go back and listen and be patient and just take it all in, right? But this is what I'm assuming you guys are perhaps like I shamefully once was a Democrat. I shamefully once was a liberal. Shamefully voted for Bill Clinton. With shame, I voted for Barack Obama. With shame, I've done a lot of things politically that I'm not proud of, but I'm here to be reborn into something non-democratic, right? So this is what I want us to do, right? We have to convert our Democratic liberal friends and family members to not being Democrats. Now, obviously, not be Republican, that's not even in the conversation, okay? Like, we could never be Republicans, okay? But the urgency for us to either find a new political home or create a new political home is becoming more and more apparent with each passing year, okay? The police are still out here literally killing us. Police, we did a whole show or a segment about how police in Los Angeles, killed how many teen girls, unarmed teen girls? 12-year-old boy got shot in the back by the Philadelphia Police Department a month ago. I mean, all the same problems that were with us in terms of police brutality and police violence that were with us in 2020, the year that we lost George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, that shit ain't gone no fucking where, man. That shit is just as bad as ever. The only difference is that mainstream outlets are not covering these murders the same way that they were, right? And consequently, I think that has also come out to us being out in the streets a lot less than we were in 2020. Like the reason why politicians were even trying to placate us with proposals about police reform and police accountability is because we was on a motherfucking neck. You feel me? Like millions of people, that's not an exaggeration, millions of people in this country the summer of 2020 and the fall of 2020 took to the streets. Millions of people. And that did not go unnoticed. But apparently we're going to have to stay out in the streets by the millions for politicians to understand that in order for, and Democrats especially need to understand this, because Democrats are actually going to be out of power, and it's all going to be their own doing and their own fault. And I hate that for us, because we are going to have to learn how to live under Republican rule, which, as you look in Virginia, Glenn Youngkin got off to a bang up start, rolling back the indoor masking mandates and saying that parents need to be able to decide that their kids can't read about Harriet Tubman in school. And it's like, yep, this is what happens under Republican rule, isn't it, right? Slavery never happened. Don't say gay. Bitches can't have abortions. Like, oh man, yes. So we got to prepare ourselves for that, because really the Democrats have not done anything to continue to maintain this level of loyalty that they have from the black voting bloc, right? They have not earned it. They have not earned it, and therefore they deserve to lose it. Now, unfortunately, we are going to suffer a little bit. We are, maybe a lot bit. Maybe a lot bit, but I'm not gonna keep voting for these niggas, man. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it. And Biden has shown us. Is he tweeting recklessly about starting war with Iran? No, but he's just tottering about, muttering under his Botox breath that, you know, Vladimir Putin is a war criminal and he doesn't care. Generally, apparently Biden doesn't, if the escalation in the Balkans continue. So there's that. Why are y'all in here laughing? Are y'all laughing at me? Ursula says the BPM chat can be a bit intimidating. They've read all the books. Listen, that's an interesting sentiment there, Ursula, and I feel similarly. What I would like for people to understand is that, you know, not everybody has done the reading. And, you know, some people may have different experiences, and again, I'm not saying people are opposed to learning, but when it comes to like formal education, you know, some people are resistant to that because of their experiences in school, right? Like, can you imagine, I know personally friends of mine who were not the strongest readers and who, when called upon to read aloud in class, they still, as adults, carry some scars behind that. So when sometimes entrance into spaces can sometimes feel as though you have to take an exam. Like, do I have to pass a test to be here? Like, I can't just show up. What I hope a lot of our more radical members of the community understand is like, listen, there's a lot of us out here who have come a long way just by not being Democrats and no longer being liberals, right? So we're here because we agree, okay? But don't shame us for what we don't know. Encourage us, or share it via the oral tradition. God damn it. That's how a lot of knowledge has been passed down. That's why I think BPM is actually so valuable, because if you haven't read the books, you can sit there and listen to people talk about it, which is a much more effective way that I learn personally, because I will get frustrated with a book in a heartbeat, and I'd be on page 4 and be like, I'm done. That's it. No more book. But I'll listen to some shit, right? I'll listen to some shit for hours. So anyway, we getting there. We are getting there. Shout out to Tasia. Thank you so much, Tasia. Shout out to Manta up in here. I love to see, Melanin Rich Nay. Listen, Melanin Rich Nay, don't go back and tell them folks in the chat we was talking shit. Melanin Rich Nay gonna be on I Mix What I Like Monday morning doing big snitching. I already could see this coming. Like they was over there saying that we a bunch of book snobs. Don't be telling on us, Melanin Rich Nay. Don't be telling on us. Let's see, we at 6 o'clock. Let me get us up out of here, y'all. A couple more things I wanted to talk about. Actually, really, I hope it's just one more thing. And shout out to Courtney, my dearest Courtney. I appreciate you updating me, Courtney, but god damn it, the fucking news. So back in January, guys, Courtney again brought this story to me about Jason Walker. This happened Fayetteville, North Carolina, where Jason was in his 30s. I want to say Jason was like 37, 38, on his porch, and in a very short duration of time, Jason went from being on his property to laying dead in the street with gunshots by the hand of an off-duty sheriff's deputy from Cumberland County in North Carolina. Well, there's been some developments around this story, and thank you again to Courtney for bringing this to me, because if we could pop up C1 there, Tunde. So, and this is unusual. Courtney, help me out here. Maybe it's not unusual, but this seems a long time for an autopsy to come out. What the fuck is this? March 25th? This man was killed in January. 3 months? Maybe that's about on par, but that seems like a long time. And the story is that the autopsy revealed that Jason Walker was shot 4 times, including a shot to the head. And that is, by all accounts, beyond excessive. And I want us to take a look at this package from, and again, Courtney, I'm sure everything you sent me, sis, because I said Courtney knows what she's talking about. ABC 11 down there in Fayetteville. We're going to take a look at how the news is reporting this. And again, media, national and local, will always take the cops' perspective on things. The police narrative is the official accounting, guys. This is how journalists are trained in journalism school, okay? The official account of things, like the police are considered to be an official source. So things that deviate from the official source are things that journalists are less likely to report upon, especially those who want to be bootlicking. Hey, what is this? Yes, hey, somebody read us a box. Woo! Laura Estada, ¿qué pasa, Seastren? Laura says, Kim, happy Friday. I was actually off work. I could be here live with all you amazing people. I am teetering here with the state of chaos around us. This sativa I am smoking for you. Blaze that up for me, Laura Estrada. I appreciate that, sis. I got one rolled up waiting for me right now. Thank you so much for your support, Laura. I so appreciate that. Let's take a look at this package from ABC 11 out of Fayetteville, announcing and reporting upon the latest details surrounding the murder of Jason Walker by police. Let's take a look.
Jason Walker's death sparked a series of protests and rallies throughout downtown, with advocates and his family calling for greater transparency. Tonight, they're sharing their reaction to these results.
Say his name! Jason Walker!
The pleas for justice continue tonight as new autopsy and toxicology results provide greater details into this incident on Bingham Road in Fayetteville on January 8th.
My reaction was, I'm gonna be honest with you, it was anger.
The report states Walker was shot 4 times, once on his head and neck, once on his back, once on his torso, and once on his left thigh. However, it does not determine which order those shots were fired. Toxicology tests found Walker had no illegal substances in his system at the time of the shooting. During that incident, Walker ran into the road and jumped on a truck driven by off-duty deputy Jeffrey Hash. Body camera footage captured Walker's father, a witness, stating that his son had ripped off one of the windshield wipers and hit the truck's windshield before Hash got out of his truck, where he shot and killed him. The Walker family attorney, Ben Crump, releasing a statement writing in part that this official autopsy report confirms what we already knew, that Jason Walker was killed unjustly in cold blood by off-duty deputy Jeffrey Hash. This is clearly excessive. Hash is on administrative leave. This afternoon, we spoke with his attorney, Paris Daughtry. She tells us she's limited in what she can say, noting that this is a case that revolves around a statute of defense of self and motor vehicle.
My client and his family are devastated by these events, devastated by what they've been through. They're devastated for the family of Jason Walker. They're devastated for their community. And this is difficult for everybody involved, and the waiting is difficult for everybody involved.
The case file was submitted to the Conference of District Attorneys earlier this month, and they will determine if charges are appropriate in this case. I'm Michael Perchik, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
That's very sad, period, point blank. And my condolences and heartfelt sympathies go out to Jason Walker's family. And guys, I don't like any parts of this story because, again, the shit still doesn't make any sense. There's got to be a very integral missing component about this story, right? So interesting that the reporter made it clear that there were no illegal, so quote unquote, illegal substances in his system. Okay, well, he was on foot. So, I mean, what the fuck? Whether or not he was drunk, high, or any of that, I don't really see what the role that plays in. But that leads me to believe that perhaps there was local speculation. Courtney, correct me if I'm wrong about this. Maybe there was some local speculation about whether or not he was on PCP, right? Because leaving your property to go jump on someone's vehicle sounds like somebody that's been smoking dippers, right? To me, you know, if you're familiar with the dippers, how dippers make people act, that could sound like that, but clearly that was not that, right? I want to know what made him leave his porch. Like, I want to know, because I don't feel as though this man, I'm trying to put myself in this situation. Like, if I'm sitting at my house on my porch, what can somebody say to me that's going to make me leave my porch? You know what I'm saying? So I have to feel as though there was some sort of provocation. Now, whether or not the legal system is going to view it as a provocation, probably not. But I can't see why this man minding his business would just go and attack this other man in a truck for absolutely no reason. There had to be a reason, right? And I want to see the unedited versions of the body cam where police were speaking with Jason Walker's father. Like, I need way more details. I need way more details about this. And on the other hand of that, so the fuck what? Jason left his porch, so the fuck what? He grabbed a windshield off of the man's truck. If the man was so Hash, if Deputy Hash was so in fear of his life, why didn't you stay your ass in the car? Like, if you're so terrified that you have to get out your car and shoot this man 4 times, you could have just stayed in the car. Or you could have put the car on reverse and left. Like, I feel as though this officer, this deputy, had way more options available to him if, in fact, not killing Jason Walker was his intent. But there has to be some sort of intent behind this. 4 shots, you intend to kill somebody. And the medical examiner not knowing in which order in which Jason was shot, because he received 4 shots according to the autopsy, in the thigh, in the torso, in the neck, and in the back, right? Absent the headshot, any one of those other 3 shots could have stopped him, period. Getting shot in the leg will stop you, right? So regardless, unless the first shot was to the head, which I don't know. But let's assume that the first shot was not to the head, that the first shot was either to the back, torso, or thigh. Why the fuck would you shoot him any other times after that? Unless your intention was to kill him, okay? Now, I am not an attorney, nor do I play one on the internet, but I have watched 20 plus years of Law and Order. And I'm sorry, I mean, I apologize. That's an inappropriate time for me to try to be flip. But I said that to say that this does not sound, this sounds a lot like a manslaughter case, right? And the fact that Jason is dead, that Jason was shot 4 times, indicates excessive force, and some sort of criminal charges must be filed here. Because at the end of the day, and I'm sure North Carolina is a stand your ground state, right? My guess, Courtney, is that you do not have a duty to retreat in the state of North Carolina. You can stand your ground. But the prosecutors need to weigh that, need to weigh whether or not this officer, who was, I would imagine, trained, right? If he had options, and he absolutely had options not to murder Jason, and for that reason, he should be tried criminally, prosecuted criminally. Now, Craig Bardo, I saw Craig in the comments. He said, Ben Crump, eyes rolling. Man, listen, I'm not even really sure how to feel about Ben Crump sometimes, because I know some of us think that he is very much like a glorified ambulance chaser, right? Like he finds these families who are victims of police violence and police brutality, and amplifies their story, right? And on several occasions, he has garnered multi-million-dollar settlements from cities. So I'm sure Ben Crump is doing very well financially. But anyway, is that how you want to do well financially? By getting blood money from the state? And it's not justice, it's just money, right? I know city of Louisville paid Breonna Taylor's family millions of dollars. And I don't doubt for a fucking second that Breonna's mother and sister and family would give all those millions back to get Breonna back, right? Or to even have one of them pigs in jail for Breonna's murder. You know what I'm saying? So when we get money, that does not necessarily mean that we get justice, okay? There have to be other lawyers, says Luke Kang. Louis Kang, you would think there's other lawyers. You would think there's other. Apparently, there are no other lawyers. It's only Ben Crump. Ben Crump everywhere. Ben Crump in Florida, North Carolina, California, Texas. Look for him, find him. Ben Crump is going to be there, and he is cashing in big time. And I don't know how to feel about that shit. So, New Al Sharpton says Pookie Wood. Yeah, buddy. Anyway, guys, what you say, baby girl? Oh, wait, this is Ursula. Ursula says, I'm sitting on the fence in regards to Ben Crump. Yeah, I think I'm on that fence with you, Ursula. Let me sit on that fence. Scoot over. let me sit on the fence with you, Ursula. We can sit on the fence together and hold hands and pass J's. Guys, that's my show. I appreciate you all so much. Let me thank every single person who has showed up in the chat. Thank you, Courtney, the SLP. Thank you, Chuck Diesel, for moderating the chat. Thank you, Pookie Wood. Thank you, Ursula. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Louise. Thank you, Valley Girls. Thank you, everybody. And I'd be forgetting some of my people in the shout outs, and I'm be sorry about that because I'd be trying to shout y'all out because I appreciate the shit out of y'all coming to watch the show. I really, really do. So do me a favor, if you could, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, tell them there's this crazy girl on YouTube that be cussing people out and giggling through all the political shit, and tell them to come fuck with us. We really appreciate that. Latif, I see you. Thank you so much, darling. I love you guys so much. And listen, gang, be clear. None of this happens without Tunde and Molly. So show your support. Give me some flame emojis in the chat for Tunde and Molly, because this does not happen without them. So as I say goodnight, let me just remind y'all, COVID is still out here jumping on people. It is still out here jumping on people. A shit ton of people died in the United States last month from COVID. Fuck what you heard about hospitalizations being down and shit. We still losing like 2,000 people a day. It's preposterous. So COVID is still out here jumping on people. Wear your mask in public. Do not fuck around with this shit. Don't let them capitalists tell you that this shit is over. We passed this shit. No, we are not. We are not. So please protect yourself against the global pandemic, if you don't mind. On behalf of Tunde and Molly, we appreciate you guys so much. Love y'all. See y'all back here on Tuesday. Fire fam. Let's go. Mwah. See y'all later. Bye-bye.